So working with Sean and going around the country, me and an engineer and co-writer with Sean, or with Eminem and everybody, we would open Sean's shows at doing poetry and music for deaf audiences. So check him out, Sean Forbes. He signs and raps and he has visuals behind him. But also, when he performs for a deaf audience, they have a floor that kind of vibrates to the music. So we were in Los Angeles a couple of years ago now, and we were opening, me and the musician were opening with poetry and music, as I do. Afterwards, people came up to me and they were like signing to the interpreters about, oh, I like this poem and I really like this one, and I like the beat of that one, and then I thought, oh wow. I set forth, with Sean's assistance and some grants, and now the Knight Foundation and Third Man and Wayne State University and Poets and Writers, to pitch this idea of what you're attending tonight. And the idea was to bring differently abled artists, musicians, and writers, not just poets, together so you folks could experience each other's audiences and each other's artists. The first reader is going to be Tennessee Reed. Tennessee Reed has a number of books. I'm just holding her memoir. It's called Spell Albuquerque, and it says Memoir of a Difficult Student. Please welcome to the stage Tennessee Reed.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. And I would like to thank ML Liebler for the invitation and for arranging these events here. The next poem I'm going to read is called Like an Old Friend Whom You Had Given Up for Dead, Rain Returns to Oakland. I wrote this poem in 2015 and it premiered at the Jazz School in Basel, Switzerland. The sun rises over the Oakland hills. The sky is hues of pink, yellow, orange, gold, and blue. Scattered clouds linger from storms. The blues-note bird sings his song, C, A flat. His voice stands out amongst the other chirping birds. Crows call from the telephone wires and from trees on the adjacent street. Canadian geese honk as they fly over Lake Merritt. People honk their horns as if to answer. Neighbors rush out of their houses for work and school. They climb into cars and on buses and squeeze onto BART. The noise of cars, buses, and BART on Market Street and MLK can be heard from my bedroom window. Garbage trucks shake the house each Thursday before the sun comes up. The neighbor's border collie Australian Shepherd mix barks as a dog walker picks her up. Fat calico cats and black cats guard leftover Halloween pumpkins on the porch of the duplex across the street. GQ the tuxedo cat and Francis the tabby cat show for their photography sessions in their favorite spot on the stone steps underneath the apple tree. The wind howls, whistles, and shakes windows. The oak trees dance and chimes jingle as the next rainstorm approaches. Due to the wind, unlike their usual flight pattern, planes fly over the house. As they come in from the northeast, they fly southwest and then turn west to land at SFO. Plants perk up, welcoming the rain. The northern mockingbird takes a bath, shaking his feathers in the bare ginkgo tree. The brown world becomes green again.
I'm so delighted to read with Tennessee Reed and with Ishmael Reed tonight. As a disabled writer coming up in the 90s, I did not have many role models. When I asked, who are the disabled writers, most people didn't know. Or they said, isn't disabled a bad word? Don't you mean differently abled? Don't you mean physically challenged? No, I mean disabled. I claim that word. I'm proud of that word. Ishmael Reed's flight to Canada taught me about words, and I quote, "What good is words? Words built the world. So this is called the Poetry Entrance Exam. Can you climb the stairs at the KGB bar? Which is more important, sound or image? Can you name any disabled poets at the Dodge Festival, at the National Books, at the Pulitzers, at the PEN Americans? Who are you? Who do you think you are? Can you read lips from the back row? Can you stand outside a while? We really love this building.
Science magazine a couple of weeks ago that said that the Egyptians revered disabilities. I told this to a woman I was on a panel with who has something called dwarfism. The Egyptians buried dwarfs like kings. And an African psychiatrist told me that in some so-called African tribes, people with schizophrenia are considered prophets. And I guess I said, well, maybe Moses was one, heard voices. So he belonged to a great tradition. I had written some notes about Hamilton, which I called in the New York Observer the biggest fraud since the Blair Witch Project. Because he got his idea from a historian named Ron Chernow. He was one of these guys who makes a living viewing American history as a series of heroic, godlike men. This is kind of a reading of American history that we have, that these guys were, these founding fathers, are sort of sacred. If George Washington and Hamilton were around, they'd be sent to the Hague for war crimes. So I decided to have this cast from the other play to do, the script in progress. All hell broke loose. We had it was a reading, so it was packed for 4 nights. We got coverage in the New York Times 3 times, 3 articles. New York Observer, Paris Review, the New Yorker, everybody. Just a reading. We can wait till you see the full production next month. I think Miranda's probably good at show tunes, writing show tunes, but he's not very good at history. So they make $100 million a year, in 10 years, $1 billion. It's a worldwide phenomenon. They said, well, you're taking on a worldwide phenomenon. I said, Gone with the Wind's a worldwide phenomenon. Birth of a Nation is a worldwide phenomenon. As a matter of fact, the Academy of Arts in Hollywood writes it as one of the best 25 films ever done. Imagine how, it's like, having a Nazi film. I guess they'll get around to that, given the regime that's involved right now. But I want to read some of the lines here from the play. And I'll take some of the parts here. And the title of the play is The Haunting of Lin-Manuel Miranda. Okay, and I have a George Washington played by a black guy. Boy, he's having fun. So what these characters do is they educate Miranda to the real facts of that history. She and her sisters grew up in a household where slaves were whipped, where runaways were hunted down with dogs, where one runaway, Diana, was sold south where she was murdered. If you had them on the stage raising their clenched fists and vowing that all men are created equal, those girls were submissive to men. Your hero, Alexander Hamilton, married into this family, and he did their bidding. He negotiated the sales of the slaves. Miranda. But Ron Chernow said he did so reluctantly. His book is 800 pages long. Woman, reluctantly. They all said that. I'm working these slaves to death reluctantly. I'm breaking up these families reluctantly. I'm working them to death reluctantly. I bet when George Washington signed the Fugitive Slave Act, he said, I'm signing this document reluctantly.